Uh, oh, wait, everyone. All right, I fixed that. Fixed that. Took Gecko off. What is up? It is officially December 6th, everybody. 2025. I don't know if you know this, but the year is almost over. It's 2 p.m. And what is today? Today is Saturday. Saturday. So welcome to the live. Welcome to the show. It is what it is, and we're gonna go over right off the bat. We're gonna let you know today is about seeding versus foreshadowing, the difference every writer needs to know. But more importantly, we will be talking. We'll answer some questions. We'll get into it. We'll see what's going on. With that said, let's get into the crazy of it all. If you don't know, my name is Thomas J. Bellezza, and this is The Right Mindset. We got some people in the audience already. Hey, ciao, bello. Reporting to learn and for cheerleading for your absolute awesomeness. Fantastic, Emma. Yeah. What's up, flowers? How's it going? Hi, flowers. Hi, morning, mellows. All right. Greetings, Tomas and class. What is up, bro? Hey. All right. If you don't know, we do a poll every day. We're going to do the lesson, but at the end of the hour, we like to do a poll. And today's poll is very simple. Seeding is strongest when the reader never notices it, feels normal to world, pays off naturally, or reflects character core. With that said, you're probably wondering, what the hell is seeding? Well, we're going to talk about that. Let's get into it. Seeding versus foreshadowing, the difference every character needs. Now, as always, remember you could ask questions during the lesson. Don't feel like you're disrupting me. I like the chaos. Who doesn't? That's what I'm saying. We got a foreshadowing, huh? Yes, we are going to foreshadow things. But we're also going to be talking about seeding. They are not the same thing. They have two different functions. They both have a purpose. I'm going to talk about that. Reporting for food as per. Excelente. Emma, can you, since it's usually dinner time for you, can you prepare us all some food? Hey, Ro. Hey, Emma. Hi, flowers. I'm cooking. Oh, there we go. Now, listen. That's what you're going crazy with that. You're gonna have to defrost it. Remember to defrost it. Not that I know. All right, num 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 num. Let's go. Boom boom badang bang bang. All right. So foreshadowing and seeding, they are not the same. One creates anticipation, and the other creates belief, truth, and earns results and payoffs. One points forward, the other builds foundation. So that's important to understand when it comes to foreshadowing and seeding. One is going to point forward, foreshadowing. The other is going to build a foundation with your reader, which is seeding. Understanding this difference does change how we write as authors. More importantly, foreshadowing is the shadow on the wall before the monster appears. But seeding is more about truth building. It's the careful establishment of what's possible in your world and what your characters are capable of, and letting your reader know who they are. Thomas knows. Listen, the only reason I know is because I set up cameras without you knowing, and I like to watch you cook. That's I assure you, that is the only reason. The cameras are nowhere else. All right. Now, to finish the intro, it's not really, when it comes to seeding, we're not necessarily hinting that someone might use a sword later, like foreshadowing does, where they might go, we must get the sword of Bloop Bloop. The only way we can stop this battle, this dragon, is the sword of Bloop Bloop. That foreshadows that they will eventually use the sword and they will fight the dragon. However, seeding is showing they know how to use the sword before they need to use the sword. I'll repeat that. Seeding is showing the reader how someone knows the sword, how to use it before they actually need to use it. That is an important factor in seeding that we will get deep into. You never want it to go the other way. You never want them to be able to do something that was not necessarily shown that they are capable of doing it and didn't necessarily need it yet, but then when they need it, we believe it. Oh, I love that example. You are welcome, my friend. That's what we do here. So let's break it down and talk the difference. But before we get into that, we got to always do the please subscribe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you haven't done so already and you love what you watch, and subscribe, show that bell. Show the bell. Show the you gotta bloop the beard. You gotta bloop that like button. It keeps everybody happy. The first thing we're going to talk about, though, is foreshadowing. This is something everybody sort of has an idea of. We've heard the word foreshadowing many a times in narrative writing. Because who hasn't? This, hi, I'm going to put my reading time in today. Sorry, I do my recreational reading much more slowly these days. That's okay. I could only read with my ears. I'll sub when you prove yourself worthy. Hwah! Time to prepare the sword of bloop bloop. All right. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing, if you don't know what it is, the simple definition is straightforward. It's a literary device used to give an indication or hint of what is to come later in the narrative. Okay? The term itself has been used since the 16th century. But that doesn't mean the method itself hasn't been used before its formatted definition. The technique was found in earlier narratives. If you didn't know, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, when Bilgamesh dreams and foreshadows his death at the hands of the gods, because his dreams are foreshadowing what is to come. Ah, yes, dreams, such great fortune. Dreams are amazing foreshadow tools. Also red herrings. But the point is, foreshadowing doesn't need to be there for only twists. Okay, it's important to know that foreshadowing is an important element of writing narrative, period, and it is not necessarily directly connected to twists, though it can be, and it is not always directly connected to the twists within the 27 plot point, where there are 3 major twists. There's plot point 7 with the first major twist, and then there's 20 and 21. All right, but a twist or a reveal that changes the way we understand the narrative itself could use foreshadowing to lead there, but foreshadowing isn't directly connected to twists. It just simply foreshadows the presentation of something. All right, well, I'll explain that in a second. But ultimately, the layman's version is, if someone says, I really wish I could use magic. I always loved fireballs. Well, that's foreshadowing the fact that they will, or somebody will, use magic in the future, and we will see fireball. Okay. But the importance of foreshadowing is that it can be used as a tool for cohesion, connecting the narrative between its acts, setting something up in Act 1, playing with it in Act 2, and letting it pay off in Act 3. All while this builds anticipation for future events, and ultimately foreshadowing creates a unity in the narrative and adds to that payoff. Golly, I wish there was a 27 plot point book ready for me to read. Me too. I wish that this book was done, but it is being formatted currently. I am formatting the chapters. I am putting it all up. I do have to do some artwork for it. I'm going to do some nice headers, but I do have to do some artwork. But it is being worked. Nice shout out, Emma. I love the tag team right there. As opposed to blue herrings, which usually means they are sick or they ate something bad. They hold their breath while waiting. That's funny. I want a pink herring. I also want a pink herring. Herrings. Purchased today. All right. Now, what I love about foreshadowing, it's an easy thing to fix in revisions, okay? Some people say, oh, should I add the foreshadowing while writing? What? I got to go back. The truth is, fix it in post. That's right. You could write the entire book, and then you know what happens. You know where everything goes. You know what you want to pay off, and therefore, you can now go back and add the elements needed to foreshadow and reveal the results. You can add as much or as little as you want to give way to that reveal. So it's okay if you're not adding foreshadowing in the book while you're writing. I know there's a lot of gurus and teachers out there, especially on the YouTube and in books, where they're like, you should be thinking about this. But in reality, I'm a deep outliner that also does discovery, and I'm the first to say, listen, the less you know, as you write, the better you can add, right? So at the end of the day, you don't have to sit there for 16 weeks and try to figure out all the connecting dots and how do I thread this all through. Because once the book is done, you could start saying to yourself, what do I need to do? How do I need to fix this? And then you could ultimately go back and start adding. However, if you give too much away on your revise or even as you're writing, but don't want to go back and delete it all, believe it or not, the fix is red herrings. Red herrings are a little harder than turning up the foreshadowing knob, but it's so easy to add foreshadowing, tweak it, and play with it than it is to worry about it in the beginning. However, if you realize that you are adding too much foreshadowing, start playing with some red herrings. We are pulling you this way, but in reality, it has nothing to do with anything. Got you! Headers and Sarahs. I see what you did there. All right. I'll see what you did there. All right. My biggest advice, by the way, to you as a writer, writing the written word, is this. You want audiences to be able to guess what's to come, even if it's late in the game or if they have to go back and then they can actually see the thread leading to the results. You never want twists or reveals to feel unfounded, whether none of this makes sense. And not that you have to dumb down the writing, but you do have to allow foreshadowing to be seen and make sense. And this is the truth. Readers will follow a couple of things that help with this foreshadowing so they can see what's going to happen. One is usually genre and narrative tropes. Now you might be saying, but I don't want narrative tropes. And the reality is, if you're writing a book, you're writing tropes. There are tropes everywhere. It's how you use the tropes. But more importantly, if readers have the trope, right? They're thinking. They're like, hey, I think I figured it out, which means you can now surprise them. You can play with the reveal of that trope, but the trope itself does lend towards the foreshadowing. For example, in romance, the happily ever after, the meet cute, they already know they're gonna meet. That's how it happens. They already know that they're gonna fall in love. So you can play with maybe the meet cute is a meet miss, where there's two paths and both characters are almost going to have the meet cute, but something changed it. And then you get to the real inciting incident where something comes down or someone comes down and says, I wonder what would happen if we moved the clock 1 minute this way. And now the inciting incident is that, the response to that is the meet cute, they actually meet. Right? So you can play around with the tropes, which is always the meat suit. That's only if you're Lady Gaga. Paparazzi. Okay. So number one, genre and narrative tropes. If they think they have figured it out simply based on what a trope is or has been in the past, now you can surprise them with something else, play with it, turn it around on itself, or pay it off with a different form of a trope. Because play around with what people expect is going to give it a little something on the back end. Believe it or not, this is true too. Foreshadowing can indeed lead to some readers figuring out in Act 1. Others might get to the page or passage before its major reveal and be like, aha! Just be careful with giving it all away or not giving it away enough and then pulling the rug out from under the reader. They will not appreciate it. Ultimately, all I'm saying is, if you're going to use genre expectations or you're going to try to seed it a little bit, well, not seed it, but lay it out a little bit, it's not about telling them exactly what to predict. It's more or less about placing little bits and pieces so they can figure it out. SB, what's up? Hi, SB. Emma, your voice got deep. All right, number 2 on that out of the 3 is mention something 3 times. If it's important and relevant, this rule makes watching TV or films or even reading a book, and it allows that, oh, they mentioned that'll come back later. They said something about the car, so the car is important. Hi, Emma. Howdy, SB. Let me repeat that. So the second thing is mention something 3 times. If it's important and relevant, this rule does make watching television or film or reading a book a little sour, because you're always like, oh, they mentioned something that's important, and you never really get shocked as much as you can, but this is because readers follow your characters' intentions. What characters pay attention to become what readers should pay attention to. So that's good to understand as a writer too, is what is important for the reader needs to be important for the character, because it is a symbiotic relationship. Hi-ya-ro. And 3, when things aren't working and you want to fix it, go with the old standby. Have characters talk about it straight out. Have characters having a conversation about something, pointing out things specifically for the reader to follow the alarm and red light blinking. For example, hey, what's going on with this book? It's missing a page. A page is missing? The last person to have this was Chris. But didn't he lend it to Melissa? Maybe. So it is technically straightforward. It's hidden in character exposition, which is always good, and narrative movement. But more importantly, they are directly talking about it. So therefore, the missing page will come up eventually in the narrative. It may be Chris or Melissa, so that's nice. They didn't give it all away, and that's a form of foreshadowing. Remember, you could ask questions. Damn, Melissa, you can't trust Melissa. Always messing that book up. More importantly, if you have questions about what I'm talking about, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to go into seeding. Seeding has nothing to do with farms. Rather, it's a technique where you gradually and deliberately distribute small pieces of critical information throughout the narrative in smaller, digestible bites that earn revealing truths, skills, and abilities. Again, seeding is not foreshadowing. Seeding is meant to create a truth the reader can believe within the narrative's context, making reveals, skills, abilities, or plot points feel completely earned. Okay? This builds trust between the reader and you, the writer, so they can believe what they do learn about the narrative is indeed true. Like Mr. Echo finding the missing film in the Bible. Yeah, all right, we're talking about loss now. But yes. You know what? A little aside about that. I believe the actor wanted to leave the show, so like Mr. Echo had like a bigger part in the narrative, and then he was like, I'm out, bitches," and I was very upset about that. Seeding is leaving breadcrumbs for the narrative. It is for the narrative, but it is also for characters, world building, etc., etc. So seeding affects all those things, and we talk about the 3. Every line must include one or more of these 3 things, right? And it's plot forward, character development, or world building. Seeding earns all 3 of those. So if you slowly seed information about the plot without doing these huge exposition dumps, that helps. If you seed character capabilities, skills, and like if they know magic, you don't want to just be like, they don't know magic the whole book, and then in Act 3 they're just like fireball. Like, you have to seed that they understand magic. And then of course world building. If they're like, let's go to the elves, and they do that in Act 3, you didn't necessarily seed it. So in the Fellowship of the Ring, they don't just show up at the elves out of nowhere. There's conversation about it, but it also is all before the midpoint conflict. So everything from the opening of the book to the midpoint conflict, you pretty much could add new information that helps establish things. However, if I may, the elves are introduced in the prologue. All right. Continuing on. Unlike foreshadowing, which focuses on the narrative curve, the what happens next, seeding focuses on the narrative foundation. It's about why something is possible and how something is known or available as an option for a character, situation, the world, and of course, the plot. So a small, seemingly insignificant detail is set up in Act 1. For example, a character always carries a specific type of battery that is obsolete. The character relies on that detail in Act 2, but for low-stake actions. Use it to potentially power up a cheap radio. In Act 3, that obsolete battery becomes the only thing that can power the ancient mechanism needed to save the world. Mostly because if you think about it, Act 1 sets up that they have this thing, they do this thing, it's something they care about. Act 2 allows them to utilize it to prove that the thing is true and it is connected to them. And then Act 3 is where it is a solution, or helps them at least solve the problem. That's usually how I see it. I get to a section and it gets like, well, if this happens, then I need to mention it sooner. Yes. So then go back and see it. Perfectly explained, SB. Excelento. Great. That is a fantastic way to just pop it into a quick definition or explanation. So with that said, the gradual low stakes distribution of the detail throughout the narrative ensures that the payoff, the big payoff, doesn't feel like a deus ex machina. It feels like the natural earned consequences of a character's established, it's very important, established habit, or the world's established rules, or a plot point, or a narrative plot point leading to something. So keep in mind, this is what exposition technically does. It informs a reader of what they need to know, the context of what they know, and then allows that context to make sense for what does end up happening. Exposition is, Chris had always carried a battery with him. As obsolete as it is, it was his favorite calming item, like a stress ball. Okay? That is, at its core, narrative exposition. It isn't seeding, though. It's just dumping information. Character exposition seeds it, lets the reader see it in motion. Instead of saying anything about the battery, it would be written as, Chris walked away from Melissa, rotating a small battery in his hand, breathing in each circle. This shows the habit in action, establishing a routine that becomes his truth. We also know he has a battery. So when he gets stressed, he brings it up. That creates the seed without telling or over-explaining. We got here. Hey, what's up, Sean? Hello, Thomas and friends. Listening on my phone while out and about. Excelente. This is a great topic. I feel like foreshadowing and seeding is something I need to work on. Believe it or not, Sean, it's something that all authors, including the greats, need to work on. It's something that's important. Foreshadowing basically sets the narrative truth all the way through and connects everything, and seeding sets the foundation of reveal. So it is important. He used the machine word every day. I don't blame him for needing breathing techniques around Melissa. I mean, honestly, you know, damn Melissa. Hey, Sean, what's up? So, with that said, I will repeat, having Chris actively use the device without going into explaining it not only allows the reader to feel like they're a part of the narrative, but more importantly, they're not, what is going on here? They're not, this is the thing. You don't want to spoon feed, there we go. You don't want to spoon feed information to audiences, right? So it becomes lived in. I'm sure you've heard of that term, like, oh, this world feels lived in. Lived in is when we don't explain things, but that characters are naturally moving around it, and it's through, I don't want to use the word showing, but it's through like a lived moment. It's through the active movement of something. Characters are aware of it. Characters are interacting with it, right? So that's stronger than just being like, here it is. Hey, Emma and SB, waves at the beard. What is up, my friend? The beard says back to you. All right. Anyway, the point is, if we do start with Chris walked away from Melissa, rotating a small battery in his hand, breathing in each circle, okay? You can then later add to that in another scene, all right? Leave Chris alone. He's twirling his battery, because that is what he does, right? That means he's aggravated. We've established that. Okay, so someone says, leave Chris alone. He's twirling his battery. Why does he even have that? It's beyond me. It's old and it's useless. Like nothing even uses it. What is that, a D battery? Who uses D batteries in 3002? It's obsolete. without saying it's obsolete. People are making fun of him with it. Commenting it or dismissing it as characters then creates that sense that maybe it's not important, but it is something about Chris, and that makes it invisible. Like the used the future tone of the OG, like the used. Oh yes, yes, yeah. So like George Lucas, everything was old and broken, but no one really talked about it. So it showed life, it showed history. Yeah, that's a good example of world building seeding, where again, if you're writing a book and they use synopsises, and you're like, what the hell's a synopsis? And they describe it as a bird that people can ride, and it has big wings that don't work. You know, you don't need to explain what it is. You just need to show people getting on a bird and using it as a mount. And now we understand it. Sort of like in Star Wars, they don't explain the what people are using. They don't explain the animals that they ride, those things. And that's what's important about seeding, is the seed is that we're just seeing it in movement. And now you can expand on that if you want. Okay, you can expand on it. Oh, what? Are you talking about the battery? Me too, my friend. Hey, Diana. So we know it's an obsolete battery, but like with foreshadowing, it is very, very, very easy to add elements and revisions. Successful seeding successful seeding informs behavior through conversation, through behavior, through the natural world. So seeding can successfully be introduced through those things, through behavior, conversation, or the natural world. Since you must know the answer before you plant the seed, it's okay if you have to go back once you wrote the 0 draft chapter outlines, or a first draft, or a third draft, or a second draft, or whatever. That's my point. Again, you don't need to know everything when you're writing. You just need to know enough to write, even if it's an idea. And again, I am a heavy outliner, but really I'm not. If you think about it, I outline heavily to what I need minimum. I don't go too crazy into the details, because I know later on I'm going to have to go back and seed information anyway. I know that I might want to build on a character. I know that I might want to build on an idea. I know that if I solidify magic before I write it, then I can't just create opportunities for magic, or at least play with it, because my brain will be like, oh, I have to stay within these parameters. Seeding is easy to go back and just be like, I need to pay off that Chris uses a battery, and that battery ends up being the solution to something. So let me create an emotional connection to the character's behavior. He uses this old battery that is obsolete to maintain calm when he gets stressed out. Now it's just a character quirk that ends up being something that pays off, right? And that's the important part about seeding. You don't want to just have it be something that's great. It can be mundane or appear mundane, because then it becomes invisible, because it's just part of who somebody is. I'm editing chapter 3, and I've just snuck in a seed. Not sure what it will grow into. Interesting. By the way, Flowers and everyone else, you can do that too. If you bring something up in an early chapter, like chapter 3, know that you have the right and the freedom to be like, oh, okay, how do I remember to add this to later chapters? And by the way, you don't have to add it to every chapter. Okay? Seeding doesn't have to be in every chapter. But I will say this. I'm fixing my heating pad. I'm having a bad back day, everybody. All right. It's okay. I'm old. I'm young, but I'm older than 20. What was I saying? Oh, the chapter thing. Yeah, you don't have to put it in every chapter. You just have to allow characters to be consistent. So, for example, if Chris is like chapter 2, it's shown that Chris uses the obsolete battery to sort of deal with stress. That means anytime he's dealing with stress, he should at least take the battery out at minimum, or twirl the battery. But that doesn't mean he's going to be stressed in every single chapter, if that makes sense. Okay. But seeding is important after all. The written word thrives on internal logic. You want the audience, upon finishing the book, to be able to look back and trace the logic of character, world, and climax payoff down to the smallest detail. You want them to believe what happened for a reason and was earned. I assure you that readers will accept your narrative's foundational truth if, one, it's integrated, okay, into character and world, okay? So make the seed part of the character's personality, their routine, or an unavoidable detail of the setting. If the seed is a hidden power source, make it part of the local history that everyone ignores. If it's a skill, make it a hobby the character is slightly embarrassed about, or that they read books on it. The point is show, show, show. You want to show them using it, learning about it, or being around it. Just as world building and context need to be shown, used, learned, and living around the narrative. You have to do that with characters. Okay? Number 2, show it, dangle it, but don't force it in the reader's face. Is a character good at sword fighting? Show them being good at sword fighting. You don't have to explain it, just they're good at sword fighting. However, maybe they haven't had a big fight because it's chapter 1 to 5. So maybe when they're camping, they practice. Maybe they always keep their sword clean and well kept. Maybe they love their sword. Maybe they might even always correct people's stances. Okay? What's nice about that is you're seeding the inevitable use of the sword. So if somebody is practicing with a sword, talks about swords, talks about fighting, can see people's styles and structures, now, later on, when they use the sword, you go, well, of course this person knows sword, and you're not saying that's unbelievable. How is a 4'1", 90-pound woman beating up 7 at the same time, 7 6'2", 300-pound trained mercenaries after she was just hired to be the accountant? No one's going to believe that. But you set up that Captain Marvel is powerful in Act 1, and you see her struggling with this power, and you see her using the power and growing the power. Then when she blows up a ship at the end, spoiler alert, you're not like, oh, it's impossible. No, it's not even a question. You're just, yeah, it's Captain Marvel. Or Superman, you know? Is seeding useful for nonfiction too? I guess it could be. I mean, if you're writing nonfiction, like, well, I don't, I think, no, I don't, I'll be honest. I don't think because in nonfiction you're not really bringing up character, you're not bringing up world building, and you're not necessarily. But you could seed. I think it's more foreshadowing. So in a nonfiction, if you're doing like a memoir, and you're talking about, if you're talking about like working in the movies, and like it was always your dream, that's technically foreshadowing. And then like the person, the book, the memoir is about an actor, and then it talks about how they got into acting. Well, we foreshadow it with their dream, and then maybe they mention that they met like so and so, and then like in chapter 8, which is 3 chapters later, that first meeting led to a movie or led to an opportunity. That's technically foreshadowing. So that's slightly different with seeding. I'm working on converting my thesis about colonial women to a full book. So have 3 chapters about 3 of my ancestors, very cool, and talking about their lives. The final chapter is pulling all of it together. Are you saying that you're writing a book that is narratively based on a nonfiction work? If it has a narrative to it and there is an evolution of character movement, even if it is foretelling what has happened, like it's historical, then you can have seeding because you would show character behavior or consistency. But if it is just nonfiction, like, hey, this is how you write, or this is how how you be successful, like the Breaking Down Success series, like I wouldn't be seeding anything, but I am foreshadowing because I connect. Like every chapter leans into the next chapter, basically. It's very impressive. That's a cool idea. No, it's full on historical nonfiction. So there is no narrative. If there's no narrative, there's no seeding. Um, that's the way I would put it. I could be wrong though. I could be found. Somebody could be like, nah, I had seeding because you're not showing repetitive behavior, if that makes sense. Unless it is a memoir, could we get away with saying that, like, if I wrote a memoir and I talk about how I learned guitar, play guitar, and then, well, no, because that's foreshadowing. It's foreshadowing. You are welcome. All right, let's get into the final bit of seeding. The secret to strong seeding isn't pointing it out, it's letting it feel invisible to the reader because it's a natural part of the narrative itself, of the characters and the world. Seeding should be mentioned enough to make it feel part of the narrative texture, but not enough to flag it as, hey, check this out, it's important. I can share it with you if you want. I'm always happy to look at stuff, my friend. I don't know if you have my email, but you could also send me a generic email through my website, the makearightleft.here.com. You go to makearightleft.here.com, and you could just email me through the contact, but don't send me anything. Just email me like a, hey, this is Diana, and then I can email you back, and then you could email me whatever you want because, sometimes it if you send something, it gets lost and stuff like that. So, but I'm always happy to look at stuff. All right. So the third thing that is important about a good rule of thumb, I should say, is to keep the seeds low stakes initially. Keep seeding low stakes. If you seed a character's ability to speak a foreign language, they shouldn't use it to talk to an ancient dragon, or it's what gets them out of the conclusion. What you should do is, it's a casual. They read a faded sign on a market stall or translate a strange inscription on a beer coaster that doesn't necessarily lead to plot resolution. So Act 1 and the first half of Act 2 is where you can start kind of doing those things. You don't have to always, I would recommend, don't allow the seeding to be a solution because then it becomes Deus Ex Machina. It doesn't feel earned. You want to allow things to be earned, and the way you do that is low stakes introductions. I'm doing it in G-Docs. Yeah, but what I'm saying is just email me through, because the website doesn't directly go to an email. It goes through like a sheet, and that it's only so I could filter emails because I was getting tired of getting I got tons of spam. So I made it so it has to go through a filtering system. So you just email me like a hello, and then I'll email you back, and then we could take it from there. All right. Anyway, the point is, this makes the skill part of their background not a plot flag. It's something they can do, and we don't question it because it's not used to solve a problem in the beginning. You want to introduce it before it solves problems. If it's part of who they are and how they live, lived in world elements. Even magic. A casual turn of a page using magic is all you need to tell the audience or seed that this person knows magic. All right. With that said, real quick before we get into the right mindset, I put it up for 2 seconds, but ultimately, if you want to check me out and find out what's going on, go to makearightleft.here.com. Remember, Christmas is coming up, so if you're interested, I do have some books available. We have Breaking Down Success, the Foundation for Longevity. Woo! You can learn about how to be successful in the entertainment industry, including as a writer, author, whatever the case is, an actor, screenwriter, you name it. This book shows you the foundation of longevity within the industry using my basically education on this system. But more importantly, if you like epic fantasy, Death of a King, the first book in the Maven War saga, is available currently and exclusively on Patreon. So go to makearightleft.here.com. You could click on the book itself. You could click on Patreon, and it'll take you right there. It's the Scribe tier. It's the Scribe tier. There's only 3 tiers available. It's the third tier, the Scribe tier. And of course, we mentioned it earlier, I am currently formatting this. I still hope to be done by January 1st, but if you're interested in the book, you let me know. That'll motivate me. Boom, let's get into it. The final bit. Peace. Hey, what's up, Em? How's it going? Stuff to buy. Okay, contact filled. Excelente. I will respond a little bit later today, my friend. Let's get into the right mindset perspective, and then we will look at the poll. Oh, speaking of, if you haven't done so already, there is a poll. We have a poll. That's right. The poll today is seating is strongest when, and there are a few options. We have the reader never notices it, feels normal to the world, pays off naturally, and of course, reflects character core. Boop. Seeding is one of those things I've taken on as a mission in my writing, giving each element a chance to be earned on the page. It's also a great guiding tool that can show you, the writer, when something isn't consistent. See, some authors create solo chapters to show a character is smart, when in reality, the rule is they are smart. Whether it's chapter 1 or chapter 21, the character should be smart on the page. You should not be creating chapters to show somebody doing something. They should be doing something. Not to be confused with the shedding of tears. Obviously. All good, the hood blood. I'm sorry. The hood blood. First of all, the hood blood. So all I'm saying is seeding helped me regroup as a writer and stop focusing on trying to prove who and what a character is in a scene, a solo scene or a solo chapter, and realize as I grew and developed as an author, they, as in the characters, are also whatever they are. So if they are smart, they are smart. I don't need a chapter for that. Just write them smart. If they're good at swords fighting, write them, just show them being this. Even though characters can evolve, some devolve, but mostly grow, etc., you're allowed to just show them being who they are. They're not going to be really strong in chapter 5 because you need to show the reader they're strong. No, they're always going to be strong, so utilize that, okay? Han Solo chapters, got it. Yeah, it's out of this world, my friend. Out of this world. My point is, you don't need to connect the dots to show that Bob had always been the killer. Dun, dun, dun. But, I skipped a passage. All right, so I finished with the seating. So, in closing, foreshadowing, on the other hand, this is a give and take. When you hear the word foreshadowing, don't take it as a twist. Foreshadowing is important in novels because it connects the dots to the narrative's plot. You don't need to connect the dots to show that Bob had been the killer, but you do need to foreshadow the narrative beats to connect back to each other, even in romance and fantasy. You do? Yes, you do. Foreshadowing in a romance is that they'll end up together, they'll say, I love you, and they'll kiss for the first time. So you want them to have a connection and show that connection leading up to the romance. Fantasy, on the other hand, well, the foreshadowing is that they have to get the one ring to the mountain, that Aragorn is the king, Candy's dog being killed as mercy, leading to the foreshadowing of Lenny in Of Mice and Men. But her hair is so pretty. The point is, you want to always foreshadow to connect narrative threads to pay off in the end, as much as you seed truths to reveal a payoff in a character. Basically, the reader needs to know these things. Okay? With that said, that's it. Boom. Any questions? Do you have any questions? If you don't, we can talk about the poll. Well, we did pretty good today. This was a quick episode. Quick episode. All right. Real quick before we talk about the poll, there's still room. There's 3 people watching that haven't voted. If you want to vote, it's anonymous, so no one judges you. There are 2 people over the 10. But the point is, we have seeding is strongest when the reader never notices, feels normal to the world, pays off naturally, and of course reflects character's core. It reflects the character's core. Yeah. All right. Right now we have the reader never notices at 30%. Fantastic. Feels normal to the world, 10%. Pays off naturally, 40%. And reflects character core. All right, pays off naturally with 40%, wins the poll. But the honest truth is, all 4 of them are fantastic. So whatever you chose, no judgment. They are all good choices. If it pays off naturally, fantastic seeding. If the reader never notices it, fantastic seeding. If it reflects who the characters are at its core, fantastic seeding. If it feels normal to the world, I assure you, that is also fantastic seeding. Okay. And to Diana, I just got your email. Excelente. I'll respond to that later, my friend. But just so you know, I did get it. I like them all. So just did eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's perfect. It's a perfect way to do the poll. I assure you. When I do tests, if it's A, B, C, D, I just do abacadabra all the way down if it's multiple choice. So I know how it is. Bob, sometimes he's up to the task. Other times he's down. Bobbing up and down, doing what he can. Sometimes Bob can make it in the pen. All right. Do we have any questions for today? Let's put the banner up. Woo! Answering questions. Do we have any audience questions? If you want to ask about your writing, remember I'm a developmental editor and a writing teacher. So it's basically like getting free advice from this guy. And I got 2 thumbs, so that's always exciting. I don't know if you know this, but thumbs are opposable. And it's what separates us from the apes. That and the fact that we don't live in trees or throw poop at, well, I shouldn't say that. There are still people who do that. Other than that, what is this? What's going on here? Oh, StreamYard. Okay. Anything? Nothing? All right, that's it. Guess we had a fun day today. It's pretty short. Oh, by the way, it's Christmas time. Right? Is it Christmas time? It's Christmas time. Oh, by the way, it's also Hanukkah. I don't know. Just saying. Are American writers writing books by authors from the UK under the same title? Are American writers writing books by authors? That I don't know, but I think I may be getting the question wrong in my head. Are you saying, are American authors taking successful books from successful books that are successful in the UK and rewriting the books using the same title? I don't know if that's happening. However, we do have some people here from the Great Britain. So if anyone has an answer to that, what is going on with my heating pit? If anyone has an answer to that, feel free to pop that in the thing. However, I know it's not uncommon for people to rewrite stories and put their own twist on it. I also do know that they are different markets. So even like Brandon Sanderson, when he wrote any of his books, he couldn't just publish them in the UK through his publisher. He went through a different publishing company in the UK. So, you know, separate. But I also have, this isn't uncommon. I've heard about this, and it's when somebody has a bigger name in in America, in the States, and some people have a bigger name in the UK. So sometimes they'll have them release the book. When I say common, I don't mean like all the time. I just mean it's not something that people will be like, it's like licensing. What do you call a drowning man? Bob? Okay. Oh my God. Short episode? I guess it is a short episode. We did, unless you have questions. At least I might get this book out for next Christmas. Hey, it's not about how fast you can get a book out. It's that you get the book out that you want out. Okay? So don't rush yourself, don't stress yourself, and don't push yourself to be crazy to get a book done. Just write what you got to write and make sure you're happy with it. However, there has to be a moment where you say the book is done, and the way you do that is you allow beta readers to read it, and if the majority of the readers say, the book is good, I enjoyed the book, just publish it. Because honestly, you can micro and nuance edit all day. and that'll just drive people nuts. Cool flowers. Gulp, gulp. That is the correct answer. Darn typos. Tell me about it. That's all right. I have dyslexia, so I can't read any. Hey, welcome. What's up? We got someone from the Kick stream. We got someone from the Kicks. I love that little icon. Look at that little king. The little king. Top of the swimming class, Thomas. Top of the swimming class. Top fans today, by the way. M is at the top with number 1. Then we got Malos. I don't know if he's still here. If you are, we're missing your verbiage. Emma got 3rd place. I know Emma's probably eating her yummy yums. And 3rd place. I don't know. Is that Carlos' son? It is not, but you do remind me that since it is Christmas, please buy Carlos' son's. By the way, if you didn't know, who doesn't know? I know. But somebody told me yesterday. By the way, tomorrow we will be going in and doing the what are we on? We're on, I think we're on episode 48, right? For the Write a Book With Me series. I think so. I think we're on 48. We are flying through that. I'm having a lot of fun with that series. All right. By the way, next year, which is in literally 3 weeks, I will be changing some things up, and I'd love to get your opinions on it because you're the people that sit here with me. So I want to make sure I'm doing what we can. Almost to the Big 5. Who, me? Yeah, I'm very much close to the Big 5. Anyone you don't like, then buy Carlos stuff. That's funny. Anyway, so next year for the lives, I was going to. This is what I'm thinking of doing. I'm going to do the Advice Mentor videos, which is basically I talk about the business of writing. So that's going to be the same. I'm going to continue the Rewrite the Greats series because I definitely like that series. I have What is Writing, which I've done this year, which is basically I take like we did today, the seeding and the foreshadowing. But it's me actually doing it. It would be me showing you and writing out what seeding looks like, what writing foreshadowing looks like. So I'm definitely thinking of keeping that. Should I keep the writing sprints or not? Do you feel like they're even worth it? Let me know. Is it helping you get that writing on? At least I only do it once a month, so for Christmas on the Sunday episodes. Well, this will be for Saturday episodes. These will be for Saturday episodes. Flowers is also in my. Ooh. Hello. I love it. I love it. I love seeing it. I love seeing it. Thank you, SB. I want to do a Writing the Greats with the Jane Austen story. Well, let me put that on the list. Where's my list? Where is my writing full? Let's see. Jane Austen. Rewrite the Greats. Jane Austen story. All right. I put it on there. I put it on the list. All right. And then there is another. I'm going to do a new live, and it's going to be analyze a chapter or scene. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to either analyze a full chapter. So it's going to be a long video. That'll be a long live. It could be anywhere from 2 hours or 3 hours because I'm just going to analyze. I'm going to try to keep, I'm going to look at chapters that are 1,000 words. Or so. Not these 8,000 word chapters. But the other thing is I might also analyze a scene. So I might take a screenplay and I'll analyze a scene in a screenplay and talk about how it is still relevant to narrative and how characters are being put. Because the analyzing it will not necessarily be how to write a chapter or a scene. It'll be more about what needs to go in it and how narrative works. So I was thinking of adding that to the fray. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Or do you feel like there's just no need for that? You let me know. Ditto SB Flowers. You're on Amazon? Yes, she is. And you could find her. The link under the description of the video. has has her information. Also, just for the record, I have been working on a friends page on my website, makearightlefthear.com, and you'll be able to also find everybody's link on there as well. So that'll be up soon. I sold the book in Italy. Fantastic. Excellente. That's beautiful. Yes, please keep sprints. All right, sprints are kept. I only need one yes. I only need one yes. Yay and thank you. No problem. Jane Austen, how can you not want to do that? That's awesome flowers. Oh, look, Emma's back. Emma is back. The idea of analyzing scenes. Do you like that? Do you like that idea? Like the idea? Oh, oh, as in you do like the idea. All right, then I will do it. We'll try it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Wave and thank you so much. I like the idea of scenes too. Fantastic. I will try to do script scenes as well, like, but not that it. To me, the exercise is more about analyzing character and establishing. Because I want to show how dialogue and scripts is doing so much work with so little, and that when you're writing your long form narrative, when you're writing books, it's like, how do you do the same thing? How do you just write out dialogue, right, to get the rhythm of a scene out and do a lot of work with the dialogue without like overdoing it? And then you could go back and start adding the action beats. You could start adding the emotion. You could start adding the immersion. So it's an interesting exercise that I kind of want to play with. Emma books were tucked between. Well, Emma's been doing it for so long that they're like, she is Jane Austen. Jane Austen is the best. I had a funny conversation with somebody about Jane Austen where they were saying that I use a lot of comma splices. And they're like, you can't use comma splices and you have all these fragmented sentences. So then I sent them a piece of Jane Austen. And then I was like, I fixed Jane Austen, and I took away all the comma splices and fixed all the fragmented sentences, and then fixed the grammar. And I was like, see, if Jane Austen had you back then, her book would have been perfect. And they're like, that's not the same. It's Jane. Well, how do you create a voice like Jane Austen created her voice if in creative writing you're writing it like a thesis? It's creative writing. It's not meant to be a perfect essay. They were so annoyed at me, but my point still stands. I feel my point stands. That should be the next vote. Does my point stand? And well, yeah, I'll definitely. The majority of the series will be 100% chapters. I just like once in a while, it's like a special, like, hey, here, because I want to do the first episode of The Rookie. I definitely want to do Shawshank Redemption. That's something I definitely want to do. I like the sprint. All right, see, all right. So people like the sprints. I was hoping. I just feel bad because I don't really. I know I'm like. I feel like I always have to be like dancing like the clown, but which is fine because I like that. But in the sprints I'm quiet. So but as long as it's helping you and it gives you a space to write and do your work, I'm super happy doing them. Emma must have been cooking as per your request. Well, yeah. I mean, she's a magician with that stuff. I see her food and I'm like, why am I not in England? You're laughing at the Jane Austen. Yeah, it really happened. I was like, what's going on? By the way, it looked terrible, the Jane Austen example, because it was just like all the character was taken out of it, all the flavor, all the voice. It was just, but it was accurate, but it was wrong. Like that's what I'm just saying. I like the sprints, or in my case, the slow meander. Have I told you I loved you yet? Because I do. Thomas, did you say I could get your book on longevity to success on audiobook? I have the audiobook version. I just didn't put it on Amazon's Audible because of the thing that's going on where independent authors are really getting screwed out of the wazoo, and I don't want to contribute to that. So I didn't put it up there. I'm thinking of making it available on my website. but I'm giving the hardcover a little bit of time to sell a little bit, and then we'll see what happens in 2026. But I did do the audiobook. I was about to put it up, and then that whole thing came up. Even Brandon Sanderson was like, "I'm out." Like people were a little upset with Amazon for messing with the quote unquote nobodies. The people that don't have any pull or power. And so that's why I didn't do that. I edited on Sarah Cannon's sprint hour this afternoon. Oh, was it fun? How was the fun? Oh, we got some love and we got some hearts. I get someone. Yeah, the sprints are fun, especially because you get to hang out and talk to people, but also at the same time, you can get some stuff done. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm looking at Sarah now. I remember. Yes, I look at that. Boom. She has 13,000 subscribers. Very exciting. Very exciting. Put that. I'll have to follow her and be supportive because that's what we do. Yeah. What's this? Oh, hello. Brandon Sanderson just released a video. All right. Other than that, I had a lot of fun today. I think we did. I think we did very well. Should I do another round of buy my book? By the way, I just interviewed. So I got a few interviews coming up. I interviewed the author of this book, Ido van Balkom. So in 2026, I did an interview with him. I was beyond words and excited about that. So in 2026, that interview exists. I did an interview with Faulkner Hunt, no relationship to William Faulkner, but he used to work for Miramax. He was a screenwriter turned author. What was nice about reading his book and doing, very lovely guy, by the way, but reading his book is it was nice to see another cinematic kind of third person limited presentation. Like that's how he writes, because he has the screenwriting. So it was really nice to see that. So yeah, we'll do what we can. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I had a really nice time interviewing him. She just did readings on her newest book coming out and working on book 12. A reading. I'm gonna have to watch those videos. I always thought about doing the readings like of a chapter or something of my book, maybe reading the prologue. I don't know. Maybe. Or reading like a chapter of my book, of the longevity book. We'll see. But I like when authors do that. I like when they're sort of like interacting. J.K. Oh yeah. Her video was released on Friday. Yeah, Lambo. Yeah, she's busy right now. She'd be watching too. But I had a good time. I was her. I popped her interview cherry. She first interview. She had a lot of fun. She said, we'll see how she is after a year. Get her back in, and give her another shot. I love Sarah. I can't wait. To see her channel. I'm gonna watch her channel. I got it saved now. Man of Wars. I'm not gonna do that. She's so cute and adorable. She looks cute and adorable. Like she has like that kind of energy, Oh, this Man of I love it. Mirror of Shadows. Oh, that's the name of her book. Mirror of Shadows. Oh yeah, look at that. Boom. Mirror of Shadows. Sarah. Ooh. What, does she read the book? Is she reading the whole book? Looks like it's the whole book. Oh, she does tarot cards too, huh? I'm gonna read your tarot cards. Ooh, food. She has food ingredients. I'm definitely gonna have to check her out later. Did you catch Sarah reading Mirror? It was fab. All right, I'm definitely gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna have to watch that. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. She read the whole book? Well, I guess she has a huge audience. That makes sense. I love the idea of my books being next to Jane Austen's. Hence my pen name. Emma Bennett. Oh, sneaky. You know what's funny? When I was in the music industry, my one of my bands was Tenebra, right? That was the band I kind of like got pretty big in. But when I was leaving, my mentor was like, "Hey, maybe you should think of like a band name that starts with A or B or C." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Alphabetical order, you idiot." So the character I played in the band was Telmorn Altanian, which also just happens to be a character in my fantasy, but not really a character that's protagonist or anything. It was just like, um, so I named my next band Altanian, the last name Altanian, and that was why. Because I was like, hey, she read it in episode. Oh, okay. Well, that's good because then like it builds. All right, that's smart. That's smart. That's smart. That's smart. Does she do the voices too, or she just reads it straight? I know when Brandon Sanderson, and this is no knock on Brandon Sanderson, but when Brandon Sanderson reads his books at those conventions, he's just like, uh, you know, there is a thing that happens when things happen, and when things are happening, and the character does this. Add some dialogue. Like it's just very like monochromatic. Like it's just like he doesn't put anything into it. It's just like he's just reading, getting through it. You know, like like if I was reading my thing, it was like foreshadowing a seeding and not the same thing. One creates anticipation, the other creates belief, truth, and. But it's always fun to watch him. The Four Horsemen of Manowar's Apocalypse. Sorry, got into that one. The horsemen are coming. What is that? Four Horsemen lyrics. What is that? The Four Horsemen. What is it? By the last breath the four horsemen blow, better raise your ears. The sound of hoofs knock at your door. Lock up your wife and children now. It's time to wield the blade, for now you've got some company. Horsemen are drawing nearer. On leather steeds they ride. They've come to take your life on through the dead of night. Something like that. I was like a beta reader, I think, because she's still editing. Oh, I know what she's doing. That's really smart. That's smart. I give her kudos for that. That's a smart move. Because she's like developing it, She's developing it. She's developing. I like that. That's very cool. I'm a member of her Broken Chapter Society. Oh, that's cool, SB. That's cool. What does that entail? What does being a member of the Broken Chapter Society entail? I'd like to hear that. A member of a broken. She's writing a series. Love it. As am I. By the way, the Death of a King is a series / saga. There's 3 series in that saga. SB, by the way, thank you so much again. I know you joined. I hope you're enjoying the book. I saw that you looked at the first entry of the prologue and stuff like that. So feel free to leave comments. Let me know your thoughts on things, if you're enjoying it. And also, if you have questions while reading that series, that's why that scribe tier exists, because I'm here to help. So if it makes you think of your own story and you need questions answered, please do not hesitate to leave a question in the comments. Trust me, giving my time is a small thing for the support. You know what I'm saying? Like I would give all my time if I could. So thank you for that. I named my Second Life avatar after Jane 2. Oh, Second Life. Oh my God, I remember Second Life. That was, if anyone doesn't know, Second Life was like and by the way, I could be wrong, but Second Life was basically like a virtual like you lived in the world, like as if you're playing a World of Warcraft, but not World of Warcraft. You could build houses and stuff, right? She reads it in the voice of the author and POV. Oh, so she does the voices. Voice of the author? I meant characters. Jeez, we all need naps, I assure you. Sean, what's up? Between the icy temps outside and the story I'm working on taking place in an Arctic wasteland at the beginning. I think my creative mind has frozen. Well, the best way to get out of a frozen mind is to go do the dishes, vacuum, throw out the garbage. Well, at least that's what my ex girlfriend used to say. Maybe that was how she got me to do chores. But anyway, it worked because while I was washing dishes, it really helped me think of stuff. You gotta trick your mind. You gotta trick your mind. What is the laugh? Oh, are you laughing at the I meant characters? Geez, I need a nap. That's not. Sometimes I get lost. I get lost in the comments. So please forgive me. Please forgive me. The horsemen are drawing nearer. Nothing against Brandon Sanderson. His books are deep, but they don't grab me at all. I can barely get. I'll say this much. I am not a fan of his writing style. But the reason I read his books is for that deeper stuff because I like studying that. I not to study like, oh, what is Brandon Sanderson writing? But like when I read or I watch television or movies, even if something is not good, and I'm not saying Brandon Sanderson stuff isn't good, but that doesn't also mean that people don't like it. But what I'm saying is I also enjoy watching or reading bad stuff because it allows me to analyze the deeper stuff. What's making it bad, and but I agree with you. Some of the writing is just too. I'm gonna say accessible, and I'm not saying that negatively per se, but I like reading stuff where I'm a part of the discovery, as if I'm feeling. I don't want to. I want to be able to put two and two together or I get bored. It's just how my brain works. Like if I'm watching a show, the reason I don't watch procedurals anymore, like Law and Order and stuff like that, which I watch with my father often, but it was because I wanted to hang out with Papa, was because everything is so, I figured everything out all the time because they just tell you because, let me start over. In a procedural, like a Law and Order, they basically have to tell you exactly what they have to tell you just to get through the episode. First of all, their turnaround is like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that per episode. So the writers are cranking it out. They're filming it. They have a whole system. Getting on a show like Law and Order, something like that, is basically like going to college. It's a master class in the industry. However, I don't like the writing because it's just like Bob was at the market at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why was he there? He was there to get food for his wife. Like it's just how do we get the most information out? So I feel like Brandon Sanderson often comes off that way where it's just accessible, where there's not a lot of, again, I'm not saying this negatively, but there's not a lot of thinking involved. It is what it is, which makes it what it is and why it sells so much because anyone could read it. Most ages can read it. But I personally like something where, I'm putting things together, I guess. I guess that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Not that matters. Yes, 13 tomorrow. 13 tomorrow. 13. Oh, yes. Chapter 13. Yeah. Chapter 13. Chapter 13. Wow, you're far into it. You're far into it. You're definitely past the halfway point of Act 1, I'll tell you that much. You are reading The Wild Plains. Yes. Hey, Flowers, I have a question for you. And I also have a question for you, M, because you both are on the scribe. Do you read the early drafts or do you just wait till Friday and read the third draft and then go back and read the earlier drafts to see what's different? Like you read the post itself, but you don't necessarily read the draft just so you could sort of like experience it at its like greatest detail. Or do you just read it in order? Or you're like, oh, this is the first. Okay, here's the 0 draft. Here's the first draft. All right, now Friday's the third draft. I'm really interested in how you're experiencing it, because I like what I'm doing with it, but I just want to make sure that it's it's paying off for you guys, and if there's anything I could do to adjust it, or because I care. I don't. I, you guys are important to me. Hey, having trouble getting into the flow. Any tips to help with this? When you say flow, I'm assuming you mean the flow of writing the words out and getting the words out. Other than the writing the dishes, if you're going to write, one of the things that I do sometimes is I'll just start outlining it. Not that I go into the detail, but I'll be like, for example, I might say, Chris sat at a desk, worked on their book. They got hungry. Their stomach was hurting, but they had to get out the page. And just getting those short bursts, those like bullet point ideas out. I'm not really using the brain to write prose yet. I'm not going too deep into immersion. I'm just sort of like, what is going to happen in this scene? And then I go back and I sort of like I write the prose out for those beats. If you've watched the Sunday shows, which you have, that's the zero draft outline format. So sometimes when I'm writing, even if I'm like into the prose, like I'm actually writing the first draft and I get stuck, I'll resort back to a zero draft kind of feel to it, and I'll just beat out the rhythm of what I need to happen, and then I try to write prose. So that usually helps. The other thing, which is something that I was taught by mentors, is ultimately just write about your day. Like what is it you're experiencing it? Write about your frustration, but write it in the POV. So if you're writing in first person, write the experience in first person. If you're writing in third person, write in third person. So if you were like, if you're third person, you're like, Sean sat there at the computer frustrated. He just wanted to smash the keyboard because he couldn't get the words out. Because you're not thinking of what to write. You're just writing what you're feeling. And that actually helps get the brain going. So I hope that helps. Everything you have in SL is made by the players. Everything you have in SL is made by the players. What is that? SL. My brain. Oh, Second Life. Yes, Second Life. Yeah, everything in Second Life is made by the players, which I think is fantastic. I think that's fantastic. That game drains hours, though. I tell you, man. I tell you. But when I was younger, what did I care? Lol. Slow reading with full-time. I'm there, SB. I'm there. I assure you. Because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You take your time, but I definitely just know I'm here for you. So if you have questions or if you're enjoying it, you let me know. Crafty girlfriend. Oh, with the chores? I was just making a joke. Though the ladies I have dated have been crafty, very crafty. Because they're crafty. Dishes never end around my house. Got a sink full right now. It almost seems like a song, like a dishes never end around my house. Got a sink full of them right now. See, I could write country. Yeah. Not a fan of him at all. And again, Brandon Sanderson is a taste. But a lot of times, there's a series I'm reading right now, and by reading I mean like dreading. And I'm not gonna name it because it's bad. But I'm just going to get through the 3 books just because I'm learning a lot. I am learning not how to write, but I'm learning about craft. Like that's a thing. My brain, when I was into music, all I did was study music. When I finally was able to be a writer, when it was really something that was plausible in my life and I was leaving the music industry, everything I could study about narrative and writing was all I cared about. That's why I do this. It's great doing a channel like this. I could talk craft. I could explore craft. I could develop, and I can help others develop. Hit the gong when you tell a joke. Why'd the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Takeaways and paper plates. Oh, that's funny. That's the best way to do it, Em. I'm on board with you. I skim the lower drafts, read the third draft, then I go back and spot stuff in the early draft. I read the advice before the yeah. All right, good. I'm glad you're reading it that way because that is definitely. I think you'll get more out of it that way. Um, the reason I posted in that order is because of the advice first. I want to give that advice leading up to the third draft, but I do think it makes more sense to sort of read the third draft and then like go backwards. Um, but yeah. Awesome. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that. Like when a sentence hits home, I check where you started with it. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Um, yes. Yeah, because a lot of times there's a sentence that does stay from the zero draft and makes it all the way to the third draft. It might get cleaned up. The context around it might be smoothed out, but yeah, that's definitely some sentences just, they work and you got to keep them. And I talk about that with zero drafts too. In normal, it's like I write random dialogue, but sometimes the dialogue stays. Keep in mind, Flowers, if a sentence hits home, please let me know in the comments when you're reading it, because that helps me. That lets me know if what I wrote wasn't, because there are lines that I write where I'm like they hit me a certain way, and I was like, oh, I hope these lines are hitting. So it is very helpful for that. SL means second life. I got a second wind in me. OM with the takeaways and the plates. I've been a resident since 2009. Oh, 2009. You could make money in Second Life too. If anyone doesn't know that, you could actually have like jobs and stuff. I'm considering reading a terrible book too. I won't name it. Yeah, we don't want to knock anybody, but yes, at the same time, if you're gonna read or watch something that's quote unquote bad, I still recommend it because you learn so much from it. You can learn what's not working, what is working. You could see if they're connecting the dots. You could see if they have seeding, foreshadowing, if they every line is maintaining plot, character, or world building. Like you could see everything you should be analyzing, and it helps you. It helps recognize because the idea that you have to read prolifically to be a great writer, I don't agree with. What I do agree with is studying writing. So if reading something and not knowing what you're looking for, and then you're just sort of seeing patterns like the formatting, I don't think that helps as much as understanding what you're looking for and then sort of like reading the book for fun and then going back and then trying to break it down. I think that helps more. But also I don't really appreciate the black and white of if you don't read, you can't write. And I don't agree with that because there are different ways to absorb narrative, from watching television to films to um, listening to audiobooks, whatever. Neither here nor there. I don't know if I can do that to myself though. Oh, why don't you recommend it to someone else to read and then get their words on it? With what I've read so far, I reread the advice and do it in sequence to both see the changes and then to understand the process. My habit has always been to write, rewrite, rewrite, rewrite. By the way, excellent habit, my friend. Excellent habit. But oh, great. So I read. So what I've read so far, I read, and then I read the advice, and then do it in sequence. All right, that's one way to do it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think what's really interesting about the reading the zero draft first, and this isn't giving anything away for anybody, but if you join the scribe tier on Patreon, the zero draft usually has it's extended, and obviously it's not like fully prosed out, but it's extended, and you'll see scenes that ended up getting moved, or like that chapter ends up getting broken up into one or two, or in some cases four chapters. So it's interesting to see and feel like, oh, this zero draft is long. And then you realize why I broke it up and why I gave other scenes breathing room. Because that first zero draft for chapter 1 was massive. But then when you go, oh wait, now I could sit in a moment, and I hope that helps. I hope that. Rewrite, not good enough. Abandon. And don't abandon what you write. Just maybe put it to the side. But I think if you're getting to the point where you feel it's not good enough and you're abandoning it, maybe get some beta readers or alpha readers, I should say, and let them read it because they might show you that it's not as bad as you think it is, and that might help. And if you find yourself rewriting so much, like if you're on a fifth or sixth draft, you might be going too deep into it. Get some readers, and if the readers tell you it's good, listen to them. Why did the chicken cross the road? It was too far to fly. Hey! You know I love you. There are so many, Thomas. There's so many lines. Well, all right, that's fair. That's fair. I'm glad. I'm glad you are emotionally reacting to the book. That you have no idea how much that means to me, not only as a creative, but as somebody that cares about you and that a piece of art is doing something emotionally for you. So I know people who make so much money they don't have to work in the real world, especially clothing accessory vendors. Which, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, Second Life is fake. So people are spending money on fake clothes and accessories. They're buying like houses. They also do resource. I don't know if they do it anymore, but there's like resource building, right? And you could like buy people's resources. You can mine things, and people are like, here, take my money. I think that's so. Hey, all the power to you. That's what I'm saying. Hang on, she's dropping us. Morticia. You're talking about the I don't know. Poopity doop bop bang. Let's see. Oh, someone added me. Uh-oh. All right. It's 3:30 already? Wow. Okay. Other than that. Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, by the way, the Scribe tier is not just the book. Like, you're not just paying for the book. I know some people they watch this, but the Death of the King is a series. Well, the Maven Wars is a series, but the book is done, and I'm just showing like the evolution of the book, minus the polished final version of the book because I'm not releasing the full book for publication for print until I finish the other books. Which, by the way, the second book is I'm flying along on the second book. On the neighbor's lawn. That's why I eat rubber bands, so I can just pick it up by the rubber band and throw it. Does the cat stare at you while launching? Yes, the cat is like. But anyway, I will say this. The original version of the story was very condensed, and a lot of what you're reading in, like, if you end up reading the Scribed here, what you're reading is just I zoomed in on the there's these people called the Naradita, and I zoomed in on the Naradita, and in the original it was like maybe 5 chapters. It was just 5 chapters of the Naradita, and then it like moved on to wherever it moves on to. But that's because the original book, the series was one book. It was just going to be this one big tome, and I was like, what am I doing to myself? What am I doing? So I broke the book up, and as writers, you have to be willing to accept that kind of task where it's like, now instead of writing one big book, I'm writing 5 books, right? And at the same time, though, what is the advantage of that? Well, in this case, I took basically 5, 6, 7. It's a total of maybe like 15 chapters. So the first book was originally like 15 chapters in the big book. And now you get to expand on these beats. You get to play with characters. You get to kind of go deeper into things. And I think that's an advantage of being comfortable with going a little deeper. And as writers, find yourself. Take the paint off your eyeballs. Turd pedos. I have I was thinking of making a breath mints, right? But they're in the shape of like turds and call them excrements. Stupid. Oh, good. All right, everybody. We got about a half hour. We could sit around. I could sing. But honestly, if you have questions, please let me know. Let me know. Where are we? Pray. My cat's face while pooping. Who here has a cat that makes this noise? Anyone? 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 That's my cat's face when she's watching me. Mama! What are you doing, Mama? I started driving, so I'll have more for you tomorrow. Thank you, sir. Excelente, SB. By the way, be safe out there. Be safe. What'd she do? She just exists. She's like 100 years old, the cat. You know, 2 doesn't look like it, but she's old. And she just has this. But she has a couple. She has the regular, like, meow, meow. That's what she does all day. She'll stare at me and just be, meow, meow, meow. And then I have to do whatever it is she's trying to mind read to me, but it's always right, which is, Dad, can we go back upstairs and lay in the bed? Dad, can you go sit at the couch? Dad, I want some petting. It's like there's certain areas she stands in the house and she just does that. Meow, 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 and it means do the thing that's supposed to happen in this area. The other one is if she's going to throw up, she does like a weird meow, but she'll do like regular meow. She'll go meow, meow, bow, bow, like that. And then I'm like, all right, now she's going to throw up, so I got to get the thing. And then it's the other one. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you, cat? All right. Do they? I wonder what it sounds like. Real long and like that. That's my cat's face watching my dog eat it. What is happening here? That's funny. That's funny. Plunk. Yeah, but you know what I loved about having a dog when I had the dog is when it pooped, it would like, you know, not look at you, but then it would side look at you like, why are you looking at me? Like, you should be watching the perimeter, father. What if like wolves come out? Watch the perimeter. Why are you looking at me? You know? I miss the dog. Yeah, my cat does a cry before right? They do that. Like a meow. She is looking at the TV thinking, what he doing, mama? Oh yeah, the same. Yeah, but do they pat? Does your cat pat? It's like meow. You know, I killed the rodent. I killed the rodent. Man, my back. What's going on here? Woo. Put the heat up. Putting the heat up. Let's see what happens now. Oh. Oh yeah. Anybody? Heating pad? Heating pad for the win? Heating pad for the win? No? All right. Guess that's it. I guess that's it. No, she's like sad it won't move anymore. Oh, does she pat it? She go meh, meh, meh. You gotta explain to the cat. You gotta be like, hey, you killed the mouse. The mouse. The mouse. The mouse. All right. I guess that's it. I guess that's it. How many more weeks do we have? Let me look at my schedule. I want to look at my schedule. Let's see what we got planned here. And then we can go. Then we can go. Then she eats it. Well, that's good. Gross. All right. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3. We only have 3. We have 3 weekends left. Jesus. How'd this year vanish? Anyone else? Oh, we got one more right. Oh, I'm doing Charlie. I'm doing Charles Dickinson next week, by the way. That will be the Rewrite the Greats. I'm going to rewrite Charles Dickinson's first couple passages or first page next Saturday. And then I might be doing a POV, writing in POVs. We'll see. I'm trying to think about what next week is. But we will have the last Saturday of December, December 27th, I will be doing a writing sprint. So that's nice. We get to kind of chill and hang. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Eat that rodent. Birds, mice, and frogs, all gifts from the cat saying, "You don't know how to survive, Pop. I'm trying to help you." Yes, I said I was going to start writing again this year. And you will. Oh, you are writing. Then I met you. Lol. You're doing a great job, bro. I think the story's coming out fantastic, and I can't wait till we get to the prose and you start writing out the chapters and you start getting through it. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Spent the year learning to write. I'll be honest, bro. I'm still learning. So the process of writing, you're always going to be constantly learning and improving and getting better. You know, there's certain things that I have found that, but again, it also lends to your voice, you know, because even me, and for anyone who's reading the scribe, you'll see in like the 0 drafts and even the first drafts, I use the word with, or I use looked a lot, or right? And as I develop, I realize what I don't want. I don't like using the word with. I don't like using words like was. Not that it's bad. I can't, but so, I've been ever growing. Even when I wrote screenplays, just because I was getting paid to write screenplays doesn't mean I was done learning or that I wasn't going to learn anymore. So it's always a process of learning. But I'm glad you started to write. I'm glad you started, because that's the hardest thing. And there are a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Paralysis. There's a lot of writing paralysis out there where it's like, oh, let me just become good before I do something. In the music industry, the paralysis was, I got to write and record an album before I do a website, before I get an agent, before I do shows. And you're like, well, then why make the album? No one knows who you are. You don't have a demand to supply. It's the same thing with writing, like if you don't just get into starting and doing and getting to work, that paralysis, Yeah, I need lots of learning. We all need lots of learning. All right. My back is killing me. I just want to put that out there. My back is killing me. I know, I'm laughing. That's a funny. All right, everybody. I think I need to go. I need to lay down a little bit. My back. All right, I'm gonna be here tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing Write a Book with Me series. We are technically, I really think we're on 48, something like that. Maybe 48. Could be 48. Bye for now. Yeah, I'm out. I will see everybody tomorrow. Thank you again for sitting with me, spending some time. Remember to think of questions. Just write them down during the week, because honestly, I'm here. I want to answer them. I want to help you guys. It's how I show my love. Give it all. I need a nap. See you tomorrow, Diana. All right, everybody. I'm out. See you later, flowers. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time.